Hello and welcome to the Ending Body Burnout Show. We are your hosts, Chris and Philly, co-founders of a multi-award-winning functional medicine practice, serving busy people with energy, mood, and gut issues.
While busyness, addictive doing, people-pleasing, and perfectionism might be the norm, it's not normal, and it's a major contributor to health issues.
Our goal with this show is to give you a holistic root cause approach to healing your body so that you don't have to continue doctor or diet hopping or popping a gazillion supplements hoping something might stick.
So get ready to heal your body, get your spark back, deeply connect with yourself, and step into the life of your dreams.
Let's dive in. Okay, let's have a chat about what most people do and what you've probably tried to do. So you've probably tried to go to the doctor. You might have even got some bloods done and they've come back and the doctor says, GP says, oh, good news. They're normal. Your results are normal. And you might have been left thinking, okay, so why do I not feel normal? Why do I still feel like this? Some people even try a natural approach with food, sleep, movement, or over-the-counter supplements. You might have cleaned up your diet, tried to get some more sleep. You might have moved your body, tried something like exercise modalities, yoga, Pilates, stretching, something like that. All healthy things, great stuff. You might have even tried to start taking things like magnesium, probiotics, or herbs, or whatever someone else has recommended on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or something like that, or a friend. Sometimes it could help a little bit, but it still feels like you're patching things up, you're managing things, or you're just scratching at the surface and it's just not getting you where you really want to get to. It's not solving it. Some people work with natural practitioners and might even get some labs done with them. And you know that there has to be more to it. So you start looking outside the standard system. You might get functional testing, supplement protocols, a more tailored approach. And to be fair, sometimes people do get helpful pieces of the puzzle. And a lot of people try really hard to feel better. And they're not lazy. You're not lazy. You're not careless. You're not doing nothing. You're trying. You're giving it a go. And most people we see have actually tried a lot already. Most people who come into our world and that we've talked to over the last couple of weeks have tried more than 5 things to solve this problem that you've got going on. And most people have spent quite a fair bit of time, quite a fair bit of money, and quite a fair bit of energy trying to get on top of this. And so I get it. It's pretty normal to have a belief impact. And what I mean by that is it's pretty normal to believe, maybe this is the way I am. Maybe this will never get better. Maybe I am inherently broken. And this is a story type that gets played out over and over and over again. And maybe this resonates with you. Okay, and so now let me just tell you why this approach, it's not working. Often there isn't enough time or the right kind of training to dig deeper. When you go to a GP, they're doing their best. But they're working within a model that doesn't always go far enough or in the right direction for a root cause. In GP appointments, there might only be enough time to look at the surface level. And if your GP isn't trained to think in a root cause way or interpret data in a root cause way, the deeper patterns can get missed. And that's not anyone's fault. It's just the way it is. Normal labs that you get prescribed, they don't always mean optimal. Like when you get your lab test back and they say, yeah, it's normal. someone can be told everything looks fine on paper and still feel terrible in their day-to-day actual life. Normal doesn't always mean healthy or thriving or functioning at your best. And so when we look at lab tests, we have a way of looking at them that at a different lens and perspective, we can see how everything's connected. When you have a lab test done through a functional medicine practitioner like us, we are really looking at the function of your body systems. So when you try going down the medical route or a non-root cause investigation approach, you can go around in circles. Okay, so our method, Philly and I, we are obsessed with getting to the root cause of health issues. We're not interested in just putting a band-aid on things. We want to understand what is really driving the issue underneath it all. We want to get to the actual source, not just keep chasing symptoms around. We have a process, a system, and a method that gets repeatable results. We don't just randomly try things and hope for the best. We don't just make our best guess based on 5 minutes of yours and our time. We follow We follow a clear process so we know what to look for and where to start next. And that gives people a clearer path instead of guessing or having confusion or overwhelm. We help people to know what to look for. A lot of people have never been shown how to make sense of what their body's saying. We help them to notice clues, patterns, and feedback that actually matter. And instead of feeling lost in the dark, our clients can understand what's going on and why. We do a couple of things. One, we look at both the physical and the metaphysical drivers of chronic energy, mood, and gut issues. We look at what's going on in your body, but we don't stop there. We also look at what's going on in your patterns, your beliefs, your stress load, life, and way of being. We look at the way your nervous system functions just as much as the way we look at other parts of your body systems are functioning. Because for us, real root cause work means looking at the whole picture, not just symptomology, and not even body systems only. Because a lot of functional medicine practitioners and natural therapists, they do look beneath the symptoms and they do look for body system dysfunction. We just take it a step further and we look at, okay, yeah, cool, but where did this all start? We use clues, patterns, diagnostics, labs, coaching, and we have a system where we know where to start digging. I often think of it like it's like a metal detector, showing us where to dig. My nephew, Micah, hey Micah, you're probably not listening to this, but Micah's got a metal detector and he loves getting out there and finding stuff at the beach with my brother-in-law, Winston, and they'll go down to the beach or they'll go to locations and they'll scan and they find he's found some really cool things. And so when you use a metal detector, so to speak, you scan and you get a little beep, 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 or whatever the signal is. And that's where you know where to dig. So first we pick up a signal. It's like a clue or a pattern or a symptom or a belief or a lab marker. And then just like Michael with his beep, 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 his metal detector, we can now start digging where there is a signal rather than just kind of going, I'm going to dig over here and see if there's anything. That's really time consuming. And when you already have a lot of time, money, and energy invested into looking for things, we'd rather respect your time, energy, and money by not guessing, having a system and looking at the signals. We'd rather dig where we get told by the metal detector, by the system. That's how we uncover the gold. Okay, so let's just I just want to really talk about the physical root causes. If you came to one of our free events that we've had over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about this. Some of you who are listening to our podcast, you haven't. Some of our clients have been working through physical root cause stuff already. And I hope that what I'm about to talk about is just a nice little reminder and a little bit of a summary just to get you on the right page or the same page as us. Okay, so how do we actually do this? One, we use a connect the dots experience. That's what we call connect the dots experience, and lab testing to confirm imbalances that are in your body. We want to know what's actually going on in the body. We want to be able to know beneath the surface. We get the symptoms, and we want to be able to understand what body systems are involved with that. Our connect the dots experience is a consultation, and it takes what you've done already and what you're experiencing and determines which body systems are involved here. That's why we call it connecting the dots, because it's like, a connect the dots picture where you start to connect those dots up and a picture starts to emerge. When I was with my girls during COVID and school was out, I was like, man, how can I get my kids who were young at the time? They were, I think, maybe kindy and kindy or prep and grade 1 or 2. And I was downloading worksheets and things for them to do. So they had some sort of education for the 3 or 4 months that they couldn't go to school in person. And so I was downloading these worksheets, and I downloaded some connect the dots drawings. So I'm like, yes, here we go. This will get them. And, maybe had like 50 numbers. And even my youngest in prep, she was just like cranking through it. That was like 2 minutes. I'm like, oh man, all right, let me stump them. I'm going to get, and I Googled, I'm like, really complicated connect the dots worksheet. I was like, here we go. This is, oh man, this is just like a mess of numbers on a page. I gave it to them, like 5 minutes. And they would just take this mess of numbers and figures on the page and they would connect it all up. It's just like 1, 2, 3. And after a while, it's just like, that's Elsa, or that's Olaf out of Frozen. And, after you connect those dots and you connect the numbers and the data, a picture emerges. And that's what we do in our connect the dots experience with you. We take all the data that you've already got and we just plonk it on a page and we just connect it up. It's just literally as simple as that. So we get that, and a picture of your overall health emerges. Instead of Olaf or Elsa, your picture of your overall health emerges, and we get a picture of what's happening inside you. We can really see, okay, I know it seems like there's a lot happening. I know it seems like there's a lot of confusion. I know it seems like you've tried everything. But good news, by connecting these dots, we can see that only this body system and this one are actually at play here. We don't have to go digging into that body system because clearly these are the only ones involved. So we get some functional medicine lab test prescriptions, and that's the real opportunity. At the end of our connect the dots, we know which labs to prescribe you. And we don't like to guess, we want to test. We want to see data. Real data, and we want to know how your body systems are functioning. And so we get you sent off with some labs, and you do them, and we get you back in, and to get to this physical root cause of what's beneath the symptoms, we can now confirm function because we've got your labs. We've got your results, we get you back in, and we say, hey, guess what? This needs to be kick-started in your body. Or heck, there might be something growing in you and it needs to be killed off. So we get you back in, look at the labs, and we say, kickstart this, kill off that. That's at a physical level. And that's really empowering because now we've got a direction and it's not guesswork, it's confirmation. With functional medicine labs, unlike when you get regular blood work or something like that, there's always going to be something that shows up. Well, how can I be so confident in that? Here's the deal. You cannot have a symptom without your body systems being in a state of dysfunction. In other words, whenever you have a symptom, a body system is not working the way it could or should. All right. And then we say, give you a treatment plan to kickstart or kill off. But that's where a lot of practitioners stop, isn't it? We would rather ask the next question, because just because we know what's happening in the body, we don't know where that started. We don't know where that all began. And so we go to the next level of investigation, and we call that metaphysical root cause work. We also want to look at your present state of being. We want to look about what's going on in your life right now as well. We want to look at where these symptoms came from. We've got a saying: the way you do anything is the way you do everything. We believe that all roads lead to Rome, so to speak. So here's how we dig into the metaphysical. I'm going to give you our top metaphysical investigation tips. And for those of you who aren't working with us, this is write these things down, because this is going to help you. For those of you who are in our world and who have come on board as our clients recently, stay tuned, because the stuff that I'm going to talk about right now is what we're going to coach you through and help you. You don't have to do this by yourself. Lucky ducks. And for those of you who are clients who've been working with us, well, this is why we're asking you the questions and taking you through the stuff that we're taking you through, because of these reasons. Okay. So all roads lead to Rome. Under every behavior is a belief underneath. We believe that every symptom is an unconscious loving message. In other words, all symptoms, there's going to be some sort of physical reason, but there's also probably going to be a metaphysical reason too. Now, we're talking about chronic health issues. If you've picked up a virus or a cold, it's probably because your 2-year-old sneezed on you after they came home from daycare. Yep, you got a bug for sure. Now, if this keeps happening over and over again, now we're not in an acute stage, we're in chronic stage, aren't we? And so why can't your systems handle that? Why can't you heal? Why do you keep falling victim to the bug? What's the cause of this? Or if you've got, now it's not just about a bug, now you've got a full-blown energy crash or a gut stuff going on. This is a big chronic thing that's going on, and now your body systems aren't working the way they could or should. And yes, there's stuff to kickstart or kill off, but this keeps happening over and over and over again for you. That's body burnout. So we look into the symptoms, but we also look into patterns of behavior. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. The way you do symptoms is the way you do relationships. The way you do work is the way you do gut health. The way you do energy and sleep is the way you do interactions with your kids. The way you do cleaning the kitchen is the way you do reading a book, is the way you do solving your health stuff. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. There is gonna, obviously that's not like a hard and fast rule for everything and everyone, but we love it because it gets us thinking outside of the box. This is the metaphysical. Okay, so Therefore, we're not just looking at symptoms on paper. We're looking at what's going on in your body, in your mind, in your relationships, in your life. Because all that matters. It's more data. It gives us clues. So we're not just interested in your symptoms. We're interested in how you're being. Does that make sense? Okay. So when a person feels stuck, where they feel broken, where they feel like they are not making progress, we run them through a few different things. Okay, so the things that we will work with you at a metaphysical level are, they're not logical. They are intuitive, or they are, that's why we call them metaphysical, because they're not just quite at the conscious level. They are going to be unconscious things. There's going to be a really good reason why your body is giving you this loving communication, because that's what we believe your symptoms are. Chronic symptoms are loving messages from your unconscious that something needs to be addressed. And so because we know that the way you do anything is the way you do everything, well, we sidestep from the symptoms and we start looking outwards. We go, where else in your life you feel stuck? Not just at a literal symptom base, which is largely the main reason why you walked into our world, but let's step out. Where else in your life do you feel stuck? I have in the past felt stuck in business. I have felt stuck in the past in interpersonal relationships. I felt stuck in my relationship with Philly, my relationship with my employees, my relationship with my eating. I felt a disconnection with my I had body dysmorphia, where I had a real issue with the way I looked, and I felt broken in certain areas of my life. I felt like I was giving my power away. I was concerning myself with things that were outside of my control. I had drama in my life. I was out of flow. I was forcing things. I was living up in my head in fantasy land, just going from pleasure and joy and distraction. I was letting my ADHD go out of control and control me, rather than me living my highest purpose, and addictions, compulsions, blah, blah, blah. I had mindsets that were limiting me. I was dysfunctional in many areas of my life. It wasn't just that my knees were chronically aching. It wasn't just that my energy was crashing. My lab test came back and I had stage 2, almost stage 3 adrenal fatigue. I had inflammation markers chronically. I had a few things that showed up on my body systems. My gut health was a picture of perfection, which, despite how terrible my diet was back then, I can't believe that my gut was like a picture of perfection. Philly was just like, what? What? So it's pretty funny. But stage 2, almost stage 3 adrenal fatigue. I was crashed, burned out. But then in other areas of my life, I felt like life was really hard. It was heavy, frustrating, and I definitely didn't feel right. So even though my gut markers came back, I just didn't, there was other areas of my life that were not working the way they could or should, outside of my physical stuff. So anyway, we would get you to look in other areas. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. So here's 3 things that you can start to look for and listen for and notice. And as a coach, as a burnout recovery coach, these 3 things are metal detectors. And when I apply the metal detector and I set the setting to look for these three things, oh, it always highlights a dysfunctional something. Okay, so here's the first one. The first one is patterns, dysfunctional ways of being or behaving. The second one is looking at your symptoms as metaphor, as loving communication from your unconscious. And number 3 is listening to your language and listening to your speech. The way you say stuff highlights with purity what's actually happening beneath the surface. It astounds me. When I learnt this, I've always loved language. I've always valued it. I remember my family had a Roget's thesaurus. Oh, I find that hard to say today. Roget's thesaurus on our bookshelf when I was growing up. And I thought it was fascinating that there could be so many different ways of saying things. I thought that was cool. And I had a dictionary, and I remember reading through it and just learning, man, I've never heard of this word. What does that mean? And I would learn words. And I remember growing up, I had a real value for poetry and reading, and we had encyclopedias growing up as physical, literal ones in our bookshelves. Thanks, Mum and Dad, for that, by the way. We had 2 sets, and I would sit down and I'd read the encyclopedias, and I had a value. I really learned early a value for language and words and speech. And I knew in myself, sometimes I would be in social situations and I'd say things and I'm like, oh man, what does Roget's have to say about this? And so early on, and I'm talking before the age of 7, I would be reading those things. Fast forward to now, mid-40s, and I love listening for language, speech, metaphors, and deeper meaning. Okay, so what do I even mean by that? Here we go. Patterns. Stuff like perfectionism. Running I've got to do it right. This is black or white. It's either good or bad. This is real binary. If it's not this way, then it's not okay. And I'm not okay with that. And if I don't do it right, then what does that mean about me? It means I'm not good enough. Martyrdom, where you give your life for the cause. Where else do you give your life for? The cause. You give your body. I like this archetypal pattern, the pattern of the prostitute. It's the difference between a martyr is like you give your life for the cause. The archetype of the prostitute is you give your soul for money or for substance, and you give your body for that as well. You sacrifice yourself for the thing. That might be literally, or it might be metaphorically in your life. You might be the workhorse, or you might be running overthinking patterns, or you might be running prove and defend, victim patterns, performing patterns, performance patterns. You might be running control or avoidance or people-pleasing patterns. Lots of these patterns are not just showing up in one area of your life, are they? I bet you, if you pause me right now and you had to think about if any one of those things resonate, I bet you $1 million Monopoly money that you could probably think of about five to 9 things or contexts in your life where that's showing up. And these patterns, they usually start as some kind of strategy, and they probably made sense at one point, but now they're often costing you more than they're worth. They're dysfunctional. So, I love looking at patterns. Patterns give us more information about where in the biscuit did this symptom start. Why is your body system falling apart? Patterns. Amazing sense of data. Go ahead, have a think about it. The other thing I love to look into from a metaphysical root cause perspective is symptoms as a metaphor. Have a think about your symptoms as loving communication from your unconscious. Now, you can't have awareness at the same time as judgment. Rewind that. And so instead of thinking, this is baloney, or instead of thinking, yeah, but the only reason is physical, instead of thinking about, the literal physical reason for a symptom, what about if you have a think about your symptoms as a metaphorical expression? For example, let's go, what's an example? Constipation. Where else are you holding all your crap in? You know what I mean? Where else can't you let go of crap in your life? What about the other way around? Diarrhea. Where else are you losing your crap? Where else do you feel like you're just getting crapped all over the place? What about energy stuff? What about you can't fall asleep at night? Literally, you can't fall asleep. Well, where else are you losing sleep? What are you losing sleep on? I had one client and we were working through chronic insomnia, and surprise, surprise, losing sleep, not only literally in bed, but losing sleep over his relationship, losing sleep over his work as an employee, losing sleep over when he moved into not working for a certain person, losing sleep over the next person that they started working with, and then losing sleep over projects that they were doing. There was constantly things on his mind, so to speak, and he was losing sleep over them. This was a pattern. Now, what do? We go, well, why is that a problem if you lose sleep? Why are you losing sleep over that? Why can't you just go to sleep? Well, because I have to think about it. Okay, and what happens if you don't think about it? What's underneath that? Well, that's a real problem for me. I have to think about this. I have to do that. Okay, well, what happens if you don't? Well, this will happen. And why would that be a problem if that thing happened? Well, because then I wouldn't be doing a good enough job. And if you don't do a good enough job, what would that mean about you? Well, it means I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Underneath every symptom, underneath every pattern, there is going to be a belief, as I said before. And if you can look under that deep enough, ding, 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 the gold is it's going to be something mean. I'm not good enough. And for me, that never really literally resonated, like that exact language, I'm not good enough. But it was more around, I'm not lovable. So that was my way of being not good enough back in the day. Philly, and she's talked about this on the podcast before, has been, I'm weak and I'm incapable. So that was her version of I'm not good enough. And we've had many different things and ways of saying it, but it's always the same. Okay, so those are two things, patterns that you've got, symptoms as a metaphor. Now the next one is language and speech. So we use, in NLP, we look at meta modeling and chunking, and I just gave you a demonstration of that. Why is that a problem? 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 And we look for deeper meaning. I'll listen to the words people say. They might say things just because that's what came up. And I like to think, my little rule as my presupposition as a coach is, well, if it comes up, it's probably down below. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the body, so the soul. As the human, so the environment. So I like to think, if someone's saying something, what is underneath that? Language can give away beliefs, patterns, distortions, deeper meanings that are sitting underneath it, whatever they say. And if you listen properly, people often tell you what's going on. They tell me what's going on. And if you listen to what you're saying and you pay attention to what you're saying, the words you use will tell you a lot about what's going on underneath. For example, I think I listen to have to, need to, got to, should do, must do, and people should all over themselves, and they get their jollies off doing what they must. I call it masturbating. And this is really starting to become a problem. And so I listen, they will show up a lot. And I call that victim speech or shame speech, because when you are shooting all over your place, or over yourself, sorry, or all over the place, you have an expectation that you have to do something a certain way. All right, well, what happens if you don't? Well, this will happen. Okay, and why is that a problem if that happens? Well, because then I'm not doing a good enough job. All right, and if you're not doing a good enough job, then what does that mean about you? Well, I'm not good enough. You see what I'm saying? So listen for that shame speech. And yeah, have a listen. Sometimes people will use metaphors in their language and speech as well. So it's a bit like a metal detector showing us where to dig. We're not just randomly digging holes all over the place, and we're not just guessing of what's happening at a metaphysical level. We're looking for signals, patterns, symptoms, language and speech. And then once we detect something, we start digging. And that's where we uncover the gold. And we don't stop at the symptom, the behavior, or even, what's happening. We dig underneath it. And that is, as I said, where the gold is. So guys, anyway, that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I've highlighted all the different ways in which we help people. We have a saying, it's not one or the other. It's not physical or metaphysical. It's one and the other. And if you can approach your healing physical and metaphysical together, you will get to the root cause. Thanks so much for joining me today. Hope that helps. If you've got any more questions, go to our website and check it out and jump on the wait list for when we open doors again. Take good care. Have the best day ever. Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you. If you'd like to give us extra smiles, drop us a review and spread the love by sharing this episode.
You can also rate your own state of burnout and the root cause contributors by taking our Ending Body Burnout Assessment on our website. And if you're interested in learning about our group or one-on-one Ending Body Burnout programs, shoot us a DM via Instagram or Facebook.
Have the best day ever.